let me tell you the fascinating yet tragic tale of Anne Boleyn, the queen who changed England forever. But before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. It all began in 1526 at the English court, where a young woman with dark eyes and an enchanting wit caught the attention of King Henry VIII. Anne Boleyn wasn't like other ladies at court. She was educated, sophisticated, and refused to become merely another mistress to the king. This drove Henry wild with desire. He had never been denied before, and Anne's resistance only made him want her more. But there was one massive problem. Henry was already married to Catherine of Aragon. For 6 years, Henry became obsessed with finding a way to end his marriage. He wrote Anne passionate love letters, we still have them today, and promised to move heaven and earth to make her his queen. The king's determination to marry Anne would eventually tear England apart from the Catholic Church. When the Pope refused to annul Henry's marriage to Catherine, Anne and Henry took matters into their own hands. They secretly married in 1533, and in a revolutionary move, Henry broke away from Roman Catholicism, establishing the Church of England with himself as the supreme head. This changed England's religious landscape forever, and Anne played a crucial role in promoting Protestant reforms. But the fairy tale quickly turned dark. After giving birth to a daughter, Elizabeth, Anne failed to provide Henry with the son he desperately wanted. The king's eye began to wander, and Anne's sharp tongue and strong opinions, once so attractive to Henry, now irritated him. Court enemies seized their chance, and in 1536, Anne was arrested on charges of treason, incest, and adultery. The trial was a complete sham. With no real evidence, Anne was found guilty by a jury that included her own uncle. On May 19, 1536, she walked to the scaffold with remarkable dignity. In her final speech, she said, "I am come here to die, for according to the law and by the law I am judged to die, and therefore I will speak nothing against it." With one swift stroke of a French swordsman's blade, Anne Boleyn's life ended. She went from being the most powerful woman in England to a condemned traitor in just 3 years. But her legacy lived on through her daughter Elizabeth, who would become one of England's greatest monarchs. Anne Boleyn's story reminds us how quickly fortune's wheel can turn and how one woman's determination changed the course of history forever. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel.
Did you know that one of history's most fascinating mysteries revolves around Anne Boleyn, the second wife of Henry VIII? Everyone knows about her daughter Elizabeth, who became one of England's greatest monarchs. But there's a lesser-known story that's been whispered through the centuries, the tale of Anne Boleyn's secret son. But before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Let's dive into what we know. Historical records show that Anne Boleyn had 3 pregnancies during her marriage to Henry VIII. The first resulted in the birth of Elizabeth in 1533. The second ended in a miscarriage in 1534. But it's the third pregnancy in January 1536 that really gets historians talking. This is where things get interesting. During that third pregnancy, Anne was reportedly carrying a male child, the son that Henry VIII so desperately wanted. The king had already broken with the Catholic Church, divorced his first wife Catherine of Aragon, and turned England upside down, all in the hopes of having a male heir with Anne. But here's where the mystery deepens. While official records state that Anne miscarried this male child, some historians and theorists suggest a different story. There are whispers that the baby might have survived but was born with deformities. In Tudor times, this would have been seen as a sign of witchcraft or divine punishment, and such a child would have been quickly hidden away. Others suggest an even more intriguing possibility, that the child survived and was secretly sent away to be raised by noble families loyal to the Boleyns. Think about it, if there really was a surviving male heir, his existence would have been incredibly dangerous to both himself and those around him. This was a time when royal succession could spark wars and lead to countless deaths. The timing is particularly suspicious. Just 4 months after this third pregnancy, Anne Boleyn was arrested on charges of treason, incest, and adultery. She was executed shortly after. Could the truth about this pregnancy have played a role in her downfall? While we may never know the real story of Anne Boleyn's son, these theories continue to captivate historians and history enthusiasts alike. It reminds us that even after 5 centuries, the Tudor court still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered, and some mysteries may never be solved. Perhaps somewhere out there were descendants of Anne Boleyn's son, carrying royal Tudor blood in their veins without even knowing it. Now that's something to think about, isn't it? Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel.
Picture this. A queen, once beloved by her king, now stands accused of the most shocking crimes imaginable. This is the story of Anne Boleyn, whose dramatic fall from grace has captivated people for centuries. In May 1536, Anne Boleyn, the second wife of Henry VIII, faced charges that would make anyone's blood run cold. She was accused of high treason, incest, and adultery with 5 men, including her own brother. But here's the thing. These accusations seem almost too outrageous to be true. Let's look at the evidence, or should I say the lack thereof. The case against Anne was built primarily on confession, but not hers. Mark Smeaton, a musician in her court, confessed to adultery with the Queen after being tortured. Other men accused of being her lovers denied everything until their deaths. The dates of many alleged incidents didn't even add up. Anne was supposedly elsewhere when several of these affairs supposedly took place. By 1536, Henry VIII had grown tired of Anne. She had promised him a son but delivered a daughter, the future Elizabeth Thar. The king had already set his sights on Jane Seymour, but divorce wasn't an option. He'd already turned England upside down, divorcing his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. The solution? A carefully orchestrated political plot. Thomas Cromwell, the king's chief minister, who had once been Anne's ally, turned against her. He saw her as a threat to his political reforms and his own power. By removing Anne, he could solve both his problems and Henry's desire for a new wife. The speed of Anne's trial was shocking, just 3 weeks from arrest to execution. The jury, all men with connections to her enemies. Even by Tudor standards, this was a mockery of justice. Anne defended herself brilliantly at her trial, but the verdict was predetermined. On May 19, 1536, she was executed by a French swordsman, an oddly merciful touch in an otherwise merciless process. Today, historians largely agree that Anne Boleyn was the victim of a political conspiracy. The charges against her were almost certainly false, crafted to give Henry VIII what he wanted: freedom from a marriage that no longer served his purposes. The real tragedy? Anne's only real crime might have been failing to give Henry what he desired most: a son. This story teaches us something profound about power, justice, and how easily truth can be sacrificed when it stands in the way of political ambition. Anne Boleyn's execution wasn't just the end of a queen. It was a stark reminder of how fragile power can be, even for those who seem to have it all.
Ever wondered what it would be like to walk in the footsteps of one of England's most notorious monarchs? Today, let's embark on a journey through time to explore the world of King Henry VIII, the Tudor king who changed the course of English history. And I'll show you exactly where you can experience this fascinating history firsthand. But before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Let's start with the basics. Henry VIII, who ruled from 1509 to 1547, is probably best known for his 6 wives and his dramatic break with the Roman Catholic Church. But there's so much more to his story. He transformed England from a medieval kingdom into a Renaissance state, built an impressive navy, and left an indelible mark on English architecture and culture. Now, here's the exciting part. You can actually visit many of the places where this history unfolded. Let's start with Hampton Court Palace, Henry's favorite residence. Walking through its magnificent halls, you can still see the Great Hall where Henry dined and entertained, and the famous haunted gallery where Catherine Howard, his 5th wife, supposedly still screams for mercy. The palace's kitchens are particularly fascinating. They're the largest surviving Renaissance kitchens in Europe. Another must-visit location is the Tower of London. This is where 2 of Henry's wives, Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard, met their tragic ends. The Tower's Chapel Royal of St. Peter ad Vincula is their final resting place. Standing there, you can't help but feel the weight of history around you. For a less somber experience, head to Leeds Castle in Kent, nicknamed the Ladies' Castle because it was home to several of Henry's queens. The castle's stunning reflection in its moat makes it one of England's most picturesque historical sites. Here's a local's tip. Consider taking the Thames Path from Westminster to Greenwich. This walking route takes you past several Tudor landmarks, including the site of Greenwich Palace, where Henry VIII was born. While the palace no longer stands, the Royal Naval College that now occupies the site is worth visiting. Don't miss Hever Castle, Anne Boleyn's childhood home. Its gardens are particularly beautiful in spring and summer, and the castle itself houses an impressive collection of Tudor portraits. For the ultimate Henry VIII experience, time your visit during summer when many of these locations host Tudor-themed events. You might catch historical reenactments, Tudor feasts, or even a jousting tournament at Hampton Court Palace. Remember, these aren't just tourist attractions. They're living pieces of history where world-changing events took place. Walking these grounds, touching these walls, you're connecting with one of history's most fascinating periods. So pack your comfortable shoes, bring your camera, and prepare to step back in time. Whether you're a history buff or just curious about the past, following in Henry VIII's footsteps promises an unforgettable journey through English history. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Thank you for watching, and ring that bell to receive notification on new videos.